As you get started or work forward on your second project, this meme analysis document, I want to take a few moments to cast our eyes back to the first project as a good model or lead-in for the second project. What's different here in the second project is that rather than focusing on a text of a genre of your choosing, I'm asking that you focus instead on a meme. Specifically, any meme here located within our Project 2 directions, you're welcome to use, but you can also find one that you're more comfortable with if none of these really fits the bill for you. The point though is that you still are trying to analyze a meme to explain how it builds meaning from outside sources, that is, how this text alludes to outside text to accomplish whatever it's trying to accomplish, oftentimes humor. To go back to the first paper though, I think is a savvy choice here. You've gone through your first paper, you got feedback on it in your analysis of a text to explain its humor, and you probably, or no doubt, learned much about what you think is humorous or how you discuss what is humorous and what things you might do differently if given the chance. So here you're given the chance to basically do the same set of steps to forward an argument in which you dissect a text and show how it works. I think you'll find it's much easier to do it the second time around because you've gone through these moves once before and kind of see where your choices maybe fell short or didn't succeed to the degree you wanted them to, or maybe where an assumption you made kind of limited what success you could have in that draft. So thanks to one of our students, Emily, for letting us use her draft here to talk about this. But in her group wiki, she starts here in her first draft of this paper on humor, and we can see these first two paragraphs, the ones that begin, humor has always been a popular form of entertainment, and earlier this year. If you read through these are kind of related ideas, and ultimately in her Project 1 copy, she takes the time to connect these and kind of stitch them together to become a much more cogent, cohesive first paragraph that identifies her argument. And notice how it starts generally. Humor is this thing. She gives examples of it to kind of succeed in telling the reader what the context here is. It's something about humor. Okay, what about humor? And then her text, her language here zooms in to the value of humor, what humor can do, its subtle purpose here, a joke, comedic situation. And she drills down even further into this idea of a specific advertisement from DirecTV known as Just Settlers, right? And so in doing this, what she's doing is helping her reader to kind of get on board, explaining what do you need to know about what's about to be discussed here. It's like those first few minutes of a lecture where you're trying to figure out what's going on, and your professor, your instructor is doing something, sharing information with you so you can kind of understand what's about to happen, what steps are about to take place here, and how you can kind of follow along. So when you look at this paper, right, and you can find it in your wiki groups, I think it's in group 4, you can see how the student does that, and she does it so well, so easily it seems. But it's not that easy. Let's not just assume that this is the first draft. We can look at her earlier draft and see that there was more information here and she made some choices. Maybe she realized that her first paragraph didn't really respond to the idea at hand, or didn't name the text or give the reader information about what's going on, and she decided to explain that here. There are some other changes too, but in part the two significant ones are that her first paragraph now kind of extends this idea of what this paper is going to be about and what she's going to focus on. And secondly, it moves the description of the text to that second paragraph, right? So this retelling, this summary of the actual scene. Earlier that wasn't the case, and we see that here that paragraphs 1 and 2 kind of mix that together. And so the problem is the argument and the retelling of the text become intermixed, and the result is that that text is not as easy to follow. But she's made choices here in the second draft that evidence that she's considered her reader to some degree, and she's kind of extricated those two things from one another. So as you're drafting your project here, as you're working on the second project and trying to answer the question, how does this meme work to accomplish its purpose? What kinds of texts does it allude to? For example, when you look at this image of a cat, what if I told you the red dot is controlled by a human? We have this mixture of The Matrix, Icahn has cheeseburger, right? This whole idea of cat memes in general. How is it working though? What do you have to know to understand this? You have a linguistic or textual aspect, right? What if I told you the red dot is controlled by a human? These two lines broken up by an image, right? So how does the human eye read this thing? What kind of image is in the background? It's a kind of cat, but it has glasses. Why does it have glasses? So what you're doing is taking apart this text for all of its features, its colors, its font, its why is it in all caps lock, for example, its textual features. And as you take apart this text for its little constituent elements, you find out how the text works. So many of you in the first paper decided to go look to outside sources to define things and find outside research. That's really not important here for us. We're focusing on the text. What is in this text? Sure, you may have to do some reading on the outside to find out what is this mean that's working here, or why cats and these kinds of things. But on the whole, those are more common sense questions you're answering, and they're not research that you're putting out there to find someone else's ideas on the topic. That's just kind of your studying up on the material. So you look to find out how do these memes work, and you look to explain them. They're the text elements, the images, the components that make them do what they do. Because as simple as they are, a cat in a picture here with a sentence, it's not as simple as it seems. Much illusion is taking place here, and you're looking to try to explain how does this universe, this continuum of information allow this one meme to have meaning in this one moment.